and welcome to the second week of Noor Al Asr's Ramadan Cooking Challenge with me, Auntie Fatima, and my beautiful assistant,
Super Sophia.
And today we have chosen another item of food mentioned in the Quran for our cooking. Your challenge this week is to use olives in your cooking. You're going to either create the recipe we're going to make today, or you can recreate your own and make something amazing using olives. Make sure you send your pictures, send me your recipes, and then Auntie Fatim, as always, will pick a winner. Now, what are we cooking today, Sophia?
Today we are making homemade pizzas with olives, which are my favorite because I almost ate a jar once.
You almost ate a whole jar of olives once. That's how much you love them. Yes, we're making homemade mini olive pizzas, and we're also going to make a homemade tomato sauce to go with it. Yes, we're not going to be using a tomato sauce jar. No, we're going to find a really quick and easy recipe for you to use, and this recipe can also be used in your pasta. You can make a simple tomato sauce pasta and you use the same sauce for your pizza as well. So we're going to start off by making the homemade pizza dough. It's super simple. First, what you will need is 300 grams of plain flour or strong bread flour, which I already have in my bowl.
Yes.
You're then going to add, Sophia, would you like to add a teaspoon of yeast?
Yes. So that will be like...
Measure it, that's it, that's perfect.
Speckles teaspoon
Put it together,
and just
perfect.
pour that in.
And then we're going to do a teaspoon of salt.
Teaspoon? Oh, that is a very lot of salt.
Go. And then we are going to pour 200 milliliters of warm water. This is we have to make sure it is warm so it activates the yeast and it gives our pizza dough a nice rise. The best thing about this recipe is you do not need to let your dough rise for hours and hours. We'll do it for about 20 to 30 minutes. It depends how thick of a crust you want for your pizza. We prefer it rather thin, so we'll leave this to rise for maybe only 20 minutes. And then we're then going to add our special ingredient.
Olive oil.
Olive oil, which is made out of olives. Yes, the healthy fats from olives makes olive oil. And you use this, your mommy and daddy probably use this a lot in their cooking. And it's very, very good for you. You can also use it on your skin. You can massage olive oil onto your skin and it's really, really good for your skin. It's high in vitamin E. So it's really helping, especially if you have dry skin, olive oil is super for it. So we're going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. Should we go for it? There we go. You can pour it. Got it? Perfect. That's okay. What we're going to do, Sophia's going to give it a really good mix. So I'm going to hold the bowl and really slowly give it a really good mix. So we've got 300 grams of strong bread flour, 1 teaspoon of instant yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of oil. We're going to give this all a really good stir.
Last time it was really stiff when we made the olive bars, but this time it's a bit light, so we need to go very slowly.
Yes, make sure the flour doesn't...
I can see we're getting the dough already.
Yeah, coming along nicely.
Really nice. I feel like using my hands now.
So sometimes it might be a little bit dry, so you can add a little bit more water. Sometimes it might be a bit sticky, so you just keep mixing. And I think we can probably use our hands now to just make it into a big ball.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Warm dough.
Yeah. So warm water activates the yeast and makes the dough nice and thick. Fantastic job, Sophia. You're doing really well.
Just try and scrape all the little
superb, yes.
And get it nice. Nice round ball.
Superb. So I'm just going to grab it.
Whoa, that
and I'm going to take it out of the bowl. 2 seconds. There we go. Put our bowl to the side.
Yeah.
And then we've got our round dough. And we're just going to... Oh, it's so nice and soft. You're right, Sophia. I'm going to tidy up a bit while you make it into a big, nice ball.
Just put that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Lovely. So we're just going to knead it a little bit. So knead it. That's it. And then, so I'm going to show you how to, so this is how we knead. We make it into a ball, knead it, and then go again, knead it and fold, knead it and fold. And there you have it. So we're going to let that rise while we make our homemade tomato sauce. So we're going to put it back in our bowl and we'll let that rise for about 15 to 20 minutes. So we're now going to show you how to make the homemade tomato sauce, which you can use for your pizzas or even your pastas. So what do we put in our homemade tomato sauce, Sophia?
So we're going to have 2 chopped up tomatoes and maybe half red pepper and some basil and maybe half of onions and maybe 4 or 5 garlics.
So we're going to put 2 very juicy, large tomatoes first. We'll put that into the food processor. They have to be quite red and ripe. That makes the tomato sauce really, really nice and sweet. Then, would you like to add the peppers?
Yes.
So sometimes tomato sauces have sugar in them, but I don't really like to use sugar because it's not that great for our health. Instead, I use red pepper in my tomato sauce. I use maybe about half to about 3/4 red pepper, chop it up, and it just adds an amazing sweetness, natural sweetness to your tomato sauce. And it's super healthy. You're using a vegetable, which is red peppers, as you know, is high in vitamin C. So it's just a fantastic alternative to use instead of using sugar in your sauce. What's next, Sophia?
Well, next we have onions and garlic.
So I put half a red onion. I love garlic, so I put maybe 3 or 4 cloves, but you can get away with maybe 2 or 3. It's up to you. So I'm going to put the onion and the garlic in. Oh, don't worry about that. And then we've just got some fresh basil, just to add a lovely aroma to the tomato sauce. So we're now going to give that all a big whiz. Right, are you ready, Sophia?
Yes.
Let's
go.
go.
A bit noisy, but that's fine.
There we go.
Push button.
3, 2, 1. Let's see how it is. Right.
Like banging and
it's looking good, but I think it needs a little bit of tomato puree. As they were using it as a pizza base, you need your tomato sauce to be a little bit on the thicker side. So I'm going to add a squeeze of tomato puree, about 1 tablespoon. And it gives that amazing dark reddish colour, which we want for our base.
This smells really nice.
And then I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil now as well, just a dash. And about a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to give it another whiz.
It might take a bit of banging on the walls and loudness. And it just banged on the wall.
And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to show you it. It's like this beautiful red colour. We're going to put this on the stove for about 10 minutes to cook. Just so, because there's raw ingredients there, the raw tomatoes, the raw onions, they all need to cook down and thicken, and then it releases an amazing aroma. So we'll cook it down for 10 minutes, we'll then let it cool down, and then we will put it on our pizza doughs. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. So welcome back. We've cooked down our tomato sauce and it's all cooled down, ready to put on our pizza dough. I've made 7 balls out of my pizza dough, so it makes 7 mini pizzas. And we're going to start rolling out. We're going to roll out our dough and put all of our different toppings. So here you go, Sophia. You've got 1 ball, Mummy's got 1 ball. And let's get
And
rolling.
I have a special roller that I got for my birthday, but it's a bit too small for me now. So I'm going to use my one that I always use now. Which is
So
really
I'm just
nice.
actually going to put the camera a little bit low so then you can see
Yeah. How
pizzas being made.
And you can still see me, but
So we're going to roll out our pizza doughs.
let's roll into a circle. Roll, roll. I'm not even trying stretching. Stretch, stretch, stretch. I'm trying
There
to
we have
stretch it into a
When
dough.
you make your homemade dough, it just feels so amazing and tastes phenomenal.
And
So
I can
there we
just
have it.
stretch.
They're around that size.
And
So I can make
just
7
stretch
of these
mine.
with the measurements I made. And then we're going to start topping up. So this is our homemade sauce. Lovely jubbly, really nice and thick and luscious. So before we add our toppings, very important to make sure we put our pizza dough onto a baking
Otherwise,
tray
if you don't,
with a baking sheet.
because we've made homemade pizzas before, and last time we put on the tomato sauce and we didn't put on the pizza dough first before we put the tomato sauce, and it was very tricky to lift them off and put them on.
Exactly, Sophia.
That's
Well
why.
done. That's why you should always put your pizza dough on first and then your toppings. Otherwise, if you put your pizza dough on here with your toppings and then scoop it up onto your tray,
It's
really tricky and you might collapse. So now we're going to put our pizza sauce on.
I'm so excited to taste this pizza.
So nice. There you have it.
It's just gonna taste like normal pizza with olives, and yeah, normal. But these are homemade.
Yeah.
Oh,
Delicious,
it smells so
yummy
nice.
tomato sauce. And I've made quite a big batch. So now if there's any left over, I can use it in a tomato pasta dish. You can put this in the fridge for a couple of days and it will be absolutely fine. Now our toppings. Right, olives.
Favorite.
This is our ingredient that we're using for our challenge this week. And as you know, olives are very high in vitamin E, really good for your skin, especially olive oil. You can massage it onto your skin, especially for dry skin. It's really, really good for you. Olives are also known to be very good for your heart, yes. And Rasulullah, our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said that it can cure up to 70 diseases. That's how good olives are. Wonderful, Sophia.
I made a little smiley face of mine.
Now, we're making a lovely veggie margarita. So we're adding mushrooms to our pizzas next. But you can add whatever you like. You can add chicken. You can add asparagus, spinach. You can be really healthy and make a really nice green vegetable one. It's your choice.
I made a lot of these
But you're
to make
decorating it
hair.
very nicely, Sophia.
I've been making a little smiley face, so I'm gonna need some hair.
So Sophia's decorating hers beautifully.
There's these and
And next we have onions. I love red onions. And red onions are actually mentioned in the Quran as well for their healing properties. Especially if you have a cold and flu, onions are really good to have, especially raw. So we're going to add
I'm
some
making
onions
mine
on.
into hair. It's some nice curvy hair.
Next we have some green peppers.
Green peppers. I wonder what I could use these for. Maybe.
And lastly, some delicious cheese.
I could use this for maybe.
I quite like adding quite a lot of cheese on top.
I can make this into a nice crown. And last but not least, I'm just gonna add some cheese onto my pizza. So I'm gonna.
I love adding some basil as well. So I'm just going to add a pinch of basil to add. Sure. Just to give that extra aroma.
Crunchy
And then just a
basil.
drizzle of olive oil.
Whee! So much.
Give that
basil.
amazing texture. Oh, there we go.
Whee!
Superb.
Oh, it smells so
There you have
nice.
it. Our amazing homemade pizzas.
Mine's
we're going
the one
to
that
put
looks like a
this.
smiley face.
We're going to put these in the oven for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. You'll know they're ready because you can see the crust becoming crispier and the cheese has melted amazingly. So if you put it on 160 degrees, 15 to 20 minutes, and I will see you again in a couple of minutes. So 15 minutes later, we've taken our pizzas out of the oven. And there you have it, our delicious homemade pizzas using a homemade tomato sauce and a homemade pizza dough. So, your challenge this week, children, is to use olives in your cooking. You can either recreate these amazing homemade pizzas and add various amounts of toppings. Please send in your pictures and your recipes. Or you can use your imagination and recreate something completely different using olives. Good luck, and I will see you next week. Khuda Hafiz.